Hello to everyone. Last week I made a trip to St. Petersburg for a few days. It was to meet my dear girls and spend some time in the most loved by me city in Russia, St. Petersburg. It is great, marvelous, a bit of a time machine, and the place where history meets technology. Located in northern East Europe and known as the Venice of the North, St. Petersburg is the second most important city in Russia in terms of politics, culture, and population. It may only be 300 years old, but it has plenty of history to discover. Now I would like to give you some insight on the history of that great city. St. Petersburg was founded in the Neva River Delta during a very stormy period in Russian history at the beginning of 17th century. For many centuries, the banks of the Neva, as well as Ladoga and Onega lakes, were the apple of discord between Russian dukes and Swedish or German feudal lords, as trade routes leading to the south went along these waterways. When Peter the Great ascended the throne, he decided to return the age-old Russian lands to open the window to Europe. In August 1700, he started the Northern War with Sweden, which lasted for 21 years. In autumn 1702, Russian troops seized the Swedish fortress Noteborg, and in spring surrounded Nishan's fortress and joined the strategic important lands to Russia. In May 1703, a fortress was founded on the Zaichy or Hare Island in order to protect the conquered lands from Swedish attack. The fortress was named St. Petersburg. The first building of the city was Peter and Paul Fortress, the first brick and stone building in this new city. With the help of Swiss, Italian and French architects, St. Petersburg was constructed according to Peter the Great's vision of a Russian European city. Its design was influenced heavily by Amsterdam, something that can be seen in its extensive canal network, earning it the nickname Venice of the North. In 1712, St. Petersburg was made capital of the Russian Empire, relegating Moscow to second place and bringing with its large influx of citizens from elsewhere in Russia and from other European cities. Peter the Great was an outstanding statesman and one of the most prominent figures in Russian history. His reign started an age of radical reforms of the political, cultural, and economic systems of Russia. The foundation of the new city at the mouth of the Neva River was one of Peter's most significant acts. 3 rules were laid by Peter to intentionally control the city growth to elude organic growth like Moscow, which was the capital of Russia before St. Petersburg. Stone was the construction material that was to be used. Streets were laid straight and not curved. Buildings should be built next to each other, facing towards a red line indication. German architect Andreas Schlüter and the Swiss-Italian architect Domenica Trezzini were the planners of St. Petersburg. A unique style, Petrine Baroque, was adopted. It is a style of 16th and 17th century Baroque, breaking from the traditional Byzantine architecture, which the Russians have followed for a millennium. I came to the city in June, the period which is called the White Nights. It is the popular time for festivals, concerts, and different cultural events. St. Petersburg's White Nights are a natural phenomenon, occurring during the summer months when the sun remains visible until after midnight, making beautiful endless sunsets that bathe the city in a magical glow. Spanning over 2.5 miles, over 4 kilometers across central St. Petersburg, Nevsky Prospect is the main street in the city and is home to many important monuments. We made our way to one of the great cathedrals of the city, St. Isaac's Cathedral, which is an enormous neoclassical building that dominates St. Petersburg's skyline. The Admiralty was thought as a main dockyard of Russia on the Baltic Sea that would be the center of shipbuilding. Its premises were the ship workshops. The Palace Bridge. The bridge connects the spit of Vasilyevsky Island and Palace Square and goes over the Большая Neva. Palace Bridge consists of 5 spans, and its raising span is 56 meters wide, which makes it one of the largest in the world. Interesting, this bridge is considered to be one of the most complicated constructions not only in Russia, but also in the world. The nerve center of the city under the Russian Empire, Palace Square was the heart of St. Petersburg, a majestic space surrounded by elegant buildings that gave it a stately character. Over the years, St. Petersburg's Palace Square has witnessed some of the major events that would not only mark the course of Russian history, but would have a great effect on world history. There are different rivers and canals flowing within St. Petersburg. Its total number is 63, with a total length of over 300 kilometers. Moika and Fontanka rivers, as well as Griboyedov and Kryukov canals, are most popular for tourists to go to. In the very heart of the city, where the Griboyedov Canal crosses Nevsky Prospect, a majestic view of Kazan Square opens up. A beautiful temple, having stretched a wide arc of the colonnade, as if it embraces both a square with a fountain and the whole Nevsky. Kazan Cathedral was originally built as a court, ceremonial, as it occupied a central place in the capital of the empire, and became its original symbol. It was built for the most revered icon in the city and is named after it. The history of the construction of the temple began with a small wooden chapel and ended with its construction of a grand cathedral. The church was consecrated on September 15, 1811, but the events of the next year, terrible 1812, changed the history of the cathedral and its status. It became a unique monument of feats of arms of the Russian army over Napoleon, the burial place of Field Marshal Kutuzov. The chapel was built for the replica of Kazan icon of the Mother of God. The appearance and interiors of the cathedral are amazingly majestic and rich, and the two wings of the colonnade are unique in the history of Russian church architecture. Cathedral's colonnade includes 96 columns, set in 4 rows, and opens into Nevsky Prospect. Its wings are ended by monumental portals. The Kazan Cathedral is the resting place of Mikhail Kutuzov, the commander-in-chief of the Russian army in the war against Napoleon. All city residents and many guests know this beautiful building of Zinger House, located on the crossing of Nevsky Prospect and Griboyedov Canal close to Kazan Cathedral. A current bookstore, Dom Knigi, is one of the cultural centers of St. Petersburg. Here we went into the famous cafe, where with a book in your hands you can drink coffee and watch the amazing Kazan Cathedral. Here we're approaching the temple of the Savior on spilled blood. It was built on the site at which on the 1st of March 1881 the member of People's Will Party fatally wounded Emperor Alexander II. Because of this temple was named as the Savior on spilled blood. Bronze Horseman is probably the most famous monument to the founder of St. Petersburg, Peter the Great. It is located at the Senate Square, and this placement was chosen for a reason. The monument is situated next to the Admiralty, founded by the Emperor, and close to the main authority of Russian Tsar, the Senate. From the south, it's surrounded by the Isaac Cathedral. And we made our way to the most famous cathedral of the city, Isaac's Cathedral. Isaac's Cathedral is named after Isaac the Dalmatian, a Byzantine monk that lived in the 4th century. This saint is not really widely known in Russia. It was dedicated to Isaac because on May 30th, the Remembrance Day of this high monk, who propagated Christianity despite persecution, used to be celebrated. Peter the Great, the founder of St. Petersburg, was born exactly on that day in 1672. That is why, several years after the appearance of the city, the first built church was dedicated to Isaac, the Tsar's protector. The church was rebuilt and moved 3 times. The second version of it was in the place currently occupied by the Bronze Horseman, and the third exactly where the cathedral is located now. Its construction took approximately 40 years. It is also possible to get all the way up to the cathedral colonnade and admire the panorama of St. Petersburg from the bird's eye view. So we decided to take it. There is no elevator that could take you up there, and you will have to mount 262 steps of the spiral staircase by foot. You will be 43 meters above the ground, but the view is worth it. Going down would be much easier after all. When I said that St. Petersburg is the city where history meets technology, I meant it. And here you can see why. From the all numerous palaces and canals we visited, we decided to go to a very urbanistic area with the highest skyscraper in Europe, which is Lahta Center. Thanks to its location, the building is considered to be the most northern skyscraper in the world, and even got into the Guinness Book of Records for 49 hours of continuous concreting. It is one of the top 5 most environmentally friendly ultra-tall buildings on the planet. The center is 462 meters high, which equals to 87 floors. The construction of this building was also sponsored by Gazprom, and it works as the headquarters of the corporation. And the last spot for today is the theater, which we visited with the girls. The theater is located on Nevsky Prospect in the House of Actor, which is a mansion built in the 18th century by Prince Trubetskoy. And this location was owned by the generations of Russian nobility. Apart from the performance itself, the atmosphere there is outstanding. Feel that vibe with me.